All right, Larry Krueger here at Levi's for the Pig and a Pickle Krug Show with a little 49er video breaking down everything that happened here in Santa Clara on Thursday. And of course, we're brought to you by Pig and a Pickle, the best barbecue in all of Northern California. Check them out. They're in Emeryville. They're in Corte Madera. They're open 7 days a week from 11 a.m. till 8 p.m. or until they run out. Pig and a Pickle, the best barbecue in all of Northern California. Also, we're brought to you by Sharp Corner Sports Cards and Collectibles. They're at 205 Cypress Avenue. Along the Monterey Peninsula. Call my friend Anthony Catania. He's at 831-521-5264. And we're brought to you by Mancini's Sleep World. They're a sponsor of the Krug Show. Mancini's offers a 120-night guarantee with a range of brands and price points. You get free next-day delivery. I'm loving my Mancini's bed. Click the link below. Go to sleepworld.com. Find a bed that works for you. Whether shopping online or visiting in store, use the code KRUG10 and get 10% off. That's KRUG10 to get 10% off in store or online at sleepworld.com. All right, Niners getting ready for the Cowboys. Cowboys are 3-3 coming off the bye. Niners are 3-4, desperate for a win. In fact, both teams are desperate to win this week. 49ers are minus 165 right now to make the playoffs, and they got to have this win going into the bye week to get back to 500 and kind of reset their course for the second half of the year. Deron Bland, the all-world corner for the Cowboys, is out. Micah Parsons did not practice today in Dallas, so there's a good chance that Parsons won't go on Sunday. Brandon Aubrey, their kicker, is going to go. Dallas, by the way, is the #1 special teams unit in all of pro football, so that's one major advantage for the Cowboys going into this game on the Niners. The Niners have struggled defensively defending passes in the middle of the field. The Niners have allowed 9.6 yards per attempt on passes in the middle of the field. That's 26th in the NFL. They're going to have to be a whole lot better in that area going forward for sure. They've also generated on offense only one explosive play on a target behind the line of scrimmage this season. So from 2018 through 2023, this was a stat that Lombardi had. I thought that was really interesting. From 2018 to 2023, the 49ers had 70 explosive plays that, either at or behind the line of scrimmage. And that was the third most in the NFL over that period between 2018 to 2023. This year they've got one all year. That's a major key to why they've struggled offensively, or a major result of their struggles offensively, is they're not getting explosives on the offensive side of the ball in the pass game. This is a big game once again for the red zone. Can the Niners get it done in the red zone? Can the Niners score touchdowns in the red zone? The Niners' red zone offense is 27th in the NFL, but here comes Dallas, and Dallas is also bad in the red zone. Their red zone defense is 31st. So the 31st red zone D against the 27th red zone O. Hopefully the Niners can score some touchdowns in this game, because Dallas does have an explosive offense, and the Niners are going to need all the help they can get point-wise in this game. One thing to remember, the 49ers, according to a report that's out there, are one of 4 teams with trade rumor interest in Harold Landry, the Tennessee Titans defensive end, who's an ex-star at Boston College. Detroit, Atlanta, and Washington also are interested in Landry. Landry's got 12.5 sacks in his last 17 games. Landry would be a phenomenal edge rusher. I mean, the Niners need a few things. They could use a running back, a wide receiver, they could use a safety, they could use a linebacker, but definitely defensive end is at the top of the list, and Harold Landry would be a great get if they can get him. As I said, 12.5 sacks in his last 17 games. He's scheme versatile. He comes flying off the edge. He plays with great leverage, great power. Landry was a phenomenal pass rusher at Boston College, and he's continued to get better as a pro. So that's an interesting name. I don't know what the price tag would be. My guess is probably a 3rd or 4th round pick. Landry's a huge talent for sure. If you're one of those fans saying, hey man, the Niners need to blitz more, no they don't. If you look at the numbers, the Niners are generating a 37% pressure rate this year when rushing 4. That's the 6th best pressure rate in the NFL in that scenario. They really don't need to blitz more. They're getting it done up front. More than anything, they just need better better coverage on the back end. The big question for this game with the Cowboys is, are the Niners going to lose this game solely on special teams? Dallas is the best special teams unit in football. The Niners have averaged 18.4 yards per punt return, yards allowed per punt return. That's last in the NFL. So McCole Hardman just gashed him for a 55-yard return. Guys are falling down. Lanes are left and right. Guys are just, you got to be able to keep your feet. I know they've had a lot of changes. With, the gunners are out, and they've had, 5 or 6 different guys who had to change spots on special teams. But the bottom line is you can't make plays on the ground. And the best athletes in the NFL don't go to the ground. They stay on their feet. And the 49ers had 3 different guys go to the ground on that McCole Hardman 55-yard return. It can't happen. So that, to me, is something to watch for in this game. 49ers giving up 18.4 yards of punt return average. As I said, last in the NFL. The Niners are also giving up 33.2 return yards per kickoff. That's 29th in the NFL. So Cowboys have the first rated special teams. Niners are the 31st ranked special teams. Despite the fact Moody began 13-14 and Wisniewski's a good punter, the 49ers are a circus on special teams. That's going to be a major part of this game for sure. Mike Silver is reporting that the 49ers do not believe that Talanoa Hufanga will play again this season. He's got a wrist injury. Now, his agent refuted that strongly, saying that in a few weeks, Talanoa is going to try to play with a cast on his wrist. So we'll see where that goes, but kind of some conflicting reports there. The 49ers did make a couple transactions today. They signed Nesta, Jade Silvera, a 6'2", 310-pound nose guard. Silvera is an interesting guy. They also cut Jonathan Garvin. So Silvera added to the practice squad. Garvin cut from the practice squad. He's a plugger. Silvera's a plugger. He's got great power. He's very active. He's kind of nasty. He's quick. He's got a nasty attitude as far as, good defensive player. He was the Raiders' 7th-round pick. It's interesting. This guy's got an interesting story. Once upon a time, he was a star at American Heritage High School there in the Miami, Florida area, and he was a top 50 recruit nationally. He was a 2-time state champion, high school state champion in the state of Florida, and he was supposed to go. So he signed to go to the Hurricanes, and then he transferred to ASU. And he was honorable mention All ACC with the Hurricanes. He was honorable mention All Pac-12 with the Sun Devils. And the Raiders drafted him 6'2", as I said, about 310, kind of a nasty run plugger, tough guy. I'm looking forward to seeing what kind of contribution he can wind up making for the 49ers, but he goes on the practice squad. As far as injuries today, Deebo Samuel was back at practice. He's got illness, of course, the pneumonia he's trying to battle back from. Juwan Jennings remains out. He's not an IR candidate according to Shanahan, but he's doubtful to play in this game. George Kittle did practice today with the foot injury. Kevin Givens was he was out today with the groin, and Jake Moody was out as well with the ankle. So Givens, I don't think is going to go. Kittle is going to go. Jennings is not going to go, most likely. He's doubtful. Deebo is ramping up like he might play. So Deebo, Kittle, Odom, Bosa, Conley, and Mason were all limited today in practice. A couple other thoughts. The Niners coaches said they love the way that Malik Mustafa sprint tackles. He runs through his targets and hits with tremendous power. And he really translates his speed to power in a big way. He has been fantastic so far with the 49ers. The Niners series against the Cowboys, 20 wins for the Niners, 19 for Dallas, 1 tie. The NFL trade deadline, by the way, is coming up November the 5th at 1 p.m. Pacific. ESPN says that the 49ers have a 44.5% chance of making the playoffs. What do they need at the deadline? Maybe a wide receiver, maybe a running back, a defensive end, a safety, a linebacker. ESPN is saying that they should go after Cooper Kupp. To me, guys that make sense for the Niners would be Darnell Savage, Devin Lloyd, both those guys from Jacksonville, Harold Landry, we mentioned before, Azeez Ojulari, and Darius Slayton from the New York Giants. And I'll say this, here's another name to remember at the trade deadline. And a lot of people suggesting maybe the Niners will trade Josh Dobbs and move Dobbs to another team. I'll be interested to see if the 49ers traded for a guy like Zach Wilson as a backup, just to give themselves a little bit more, more options at quarterback going forward with Brock probably headed towards a big money payday coming up here. Will the Niners bring in a guy like Wilson now? That would ruffle some feathers to some degree, but it also would give them a little bit better prospect as the number 2 quarterback than Brandon Allen. I believe that Wilson wants to be a Niner and that the Niners probably like Wilson. Others, don't believe that. So we'll see. We'll see if that is indeed the case. That's going to do it for us. Thanks to Pig in a Pickle. Thanks to Sharp Corners. Thanks to Mancini's. Thanks to all of you guys for supporting The Krug Show on YouTube.